Seven, six, five, four, three, two, one.
Hey everyone. So today I wanted to talk about how to train a hyper Australian Shepherd. I think this applies for any hyper dog, but it was requested, so we're going to get straight into it. Australian Shepherds are of course very, very hyper, and because of that you have to be able to gear their energy towards something productive versus something destructive. So we're going to talk about training. I think the number one thing for training a hyper dog is to make sure that they aren't as energetic as they could be when you're doing your training session. So that means getting them out for a walk or for exercise before you're going to do your training session so that they are a bit more calm. I know that they'll still be very hyper, but it helps with release of some of that energy at least. The next thing that I would say is important is to have the same energy level as your dog. So just like if you were in a classroom and you had a teacher sitting there talking to you in a monotone for an hour and a half, you would zone out because that's extremely boring, right? So you have to get your energy level up to the same level as your dog, really engage them, get your voice up, and just really jump around, make it fun for them, and that's going to keep their attention on you. Especially with a hyper dog, it's important to match their energy level so that they don't zone out, right? So that they don't get bored of watching you.
Six. Go through. Go through. Go through. Go through. Go through. Good girl. Good job. Up. Keep going. Down. Go. Go. Good girl. Good girl.
Hey, Aspen. Aspen, can you speak?
Good girl. Can you speak? Good girl. Can you speak? Good girl. Good girl.
See, so you have to get your energy level up for them to respond. If you're just sitting there kind of going, speak, speak, they're not going to respond to you. So you have to really get your energy level up and get them engaged in what you're doing to get a response out of them. Next thing that I would have to say is that you should probably figure out which type of reward your dog is more geared towards. So a lot of dogs will either be geared towards play as a reward, and other dogs will be geared towards food as a reward. And then sometimes you have a nice middle ground where both of them work for your dog. So with my dog, both of them work. Aspen loves to play, and so she really gets engaged with training if I'm rewarding her by playing with her. So if she does a trick properly, she gets the ball tossed a couple of times and she can go and chase it. But she also is very responsive with food. So I would recommend that you figure out which one your dog is more geared towards, see what they react to the most. If they are more excited when it comes to play, then you can use play as a reward, and it's going to really keep them engaged. Especially with hyper dogs, play is something that is very important. It's something that keeps them moving, that keeps giving them exercise while you're training them.
Oh, where'd it go? Let's go. Ready? Aspen, spin. Spin. Good girl. Get it. Good girl. Come here. Come here. What's this? Oh, ready? Sit. Lay down. Speak. Good girl. Get it.
So the next thing that I would recommend doing is watching their natural behavior to see if there's tricks that you could get out of their natural behavior. A lot of times it's easier to train a dog when you see them doing something that could translate into a trick. So for example, with Aspen, she was very much a hands-on kind of dog. She used her paws a lot to do things. And so I would see her running and she would kind of like, I don't know, prance around with her paws, and she would try and grab things with her paws. And so to teach her a handshake, I took advantage of her natural behavior and basically just played with her. And as she used her paws, I introduced my hand and then would reward with a treat. And she eventually got that. Giving her hand to me resulted in something yummy going into her tummy. So now let's talk about just in general getting your dog less hyper, especially when they come into the house from, let's say, out in your backyard or from a walk. It's important to get their energy level down so that they know that inside of the house it's a place that is not for, crazy running or anything like that. So one of the things that I've found works for my dog is to have a specific spot that she has to go to every time she comes inside from outside. And that is her bed that's on the main floor. So she knows that when we come in from a walk, I basically just say, go to your bed. She goes into her bed. She knows that she has to lay down and calm down before she can get a treat. And that really helps them focus on the fact that they are back in their house and they're not going on a crazy wild rampage anymore. And it just gets their mentality back focused into being a bit more calm inside versus outside. So that doesn't have to do with training, but it has to do with just in general, normal everyday life, getting a hyper dog to be a little bit less hyper inside of the house versus outside of the house.
Let's go. Let's go get a treat. Good girl. You go to your box. Lay down.
Good
Here's your
girl.
treat, Aspen.
There you go. So let's just go over all of those points again quickly. Get your dog enough exercise before you want to start training. It's important to get their energy level down. Number 2 would be that you want to make sure that you have the same energy level as your dog. Keep in mind that analogy of a teacher in a classroom that's monotone. You're probably not going to pay any attention to someone like that, so you don't want to be that person either when it comes to your dog. Get them engaged. Be the crazy professor that is passionate about what they're doing. Your dog will listen to you 10 times more if you're like that. Number 3 is you can use natural behaviors to try and find tricks that are going to be easier to teach. If you use their natural behaviors, those tricks are going to come about a lot quicker. And number 4 would be make sure you know which one your dog likes, whether it be play or food. Which one is most rewarding for them, because that's the one that you want to use when you're training a hyper dog. So those were all of my tips. I know some of them are a bit obvious to some people, but when it comes to training a hyper dog, they are actually some of the smartest dogs out there. They are the dogs that will catch on to things so quickly. The only challenge is getting them focused in that zone, because all Australian Shepherds have that focused zone that they can get into, and once they're in there, you will be amazed at what they can do and how quickly they can pick up things. So those are my tips. Get them focused in that zone, get them engaged in what they're doing, use your own energy level, and you should be able to accomplish very amazing things by doing that. So I hope that this helped, and if you have any other questions, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. Also, just wanted to let you guys know that I have created a Instagram account for Aspen, so if you want to see her beautiful face I can't promise every day, but every once in a while on your Instagram feed, I have put that link down below as well. And yeah, have a great day.
Who's a good girl? Who's a good girl? Who's a good girl? Who's a good girl?